This week in our series of reports on UFOs, we've learned a number of things. That not everybody who sees a UFO is crazy, that our government has lied about UFO information, that it's withheld UFO files, and even spied on UFO witnesses. Former government scientist has alleged that the U.S. military is flying recovered UFOs at a secret base in the Nevada desert. The allegations about the secret facility near the Groom Mountains first surfaced on Eyewitness News last Friday.
Gary and Mary Ruth, we've been working on this story for a long time, and we'll tell you right up front that it's going to be hard to swallow at first. This week, we've heard the contention of UFO researchers that there's a secret government.
Did you see that move it did?
No, I didn't.
It went
because
like
I kept
it went boom, boom. Wow, look how bright it's getting.
Look at it now.
Getting bright.
Not bright enough for me to get the sun.
Here, hold on, right here.
Some argue that it's evident we're not alone, while others dismiss the notion entirely, and still others will hauntingly recount their own experiences with UFOs. Nevertheless, with everything from more and more weird reports from increasingly reputable sources to simple mathematical probability indicating the possibility of alien life, skepticism is becoming more difficult to maintain. UFO is an abbreviation for the U.S. Air Force term unidentified flying object. To the military, the phrase denotes something in the sky that can be seen but not recognized, rather than something extraterrestrial. Certain Ministry of Defense divisions prefer the term UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. The start of the Cold War conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union in 1947 coincided with the first wave of UFO reports. The first sighting of a flying saucer over the United States came on June 24, 1947, when Kenneth Arnold, a civilian pilot, observed 9 disc-shaped objects over Mount Rainier, Washington, traveling at an estimated speed of over 1,200 miles per hour, a speed that, at the time, no aircraft created by humans had yet to achieve. After Arnold's report, sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena grew, and the United States Air Force launched Project Sign, an inquiry into these sightings, in 1948. Those engaged in the study first assumed that the UFOs were advanced Soviet aircraft, however some researchers speculated that they could be spacecraft from other worlds. Within a year, Project Sign was succeeded by Project Grudge, which was replaced in 1952 by Project Blue Book, the longest-running of the official UFO investigations, based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. From 1952 through 1969, Project Blue Book collected reports of almost 12,000 sightings or incidents, each of which was eventually classified as either identified with a known astronomical, atmospheric, artificial phenomenon or unidentified. The last category, which accounted for around 6% of the total, includes examples in which there was insufficient information to identify a known phenomena. In July 1947, a local farmer, William Mack Brazel, discovered a considerable amount of debris scattered throughout his ranch west of Roswell, New Mexico. Brazel described the debris as shiny, metallic materials with weird symbols he didn't identify. The following day the military gathered the debris quickly, and a news statement was released reporting that a flying disc had crashed upon the ranch. The incident sparked widespread public interest after being covered by newspapers across the country. However, the military changed their statement within hours of the initial press release, claiming that the object was a weather balloon. The debris was captured and sent to the Roswell Army Air Base, where military authorities allegedly studied it. Rumors began to circulate that the military had recovered a spacecraft and alien bodies from the crash site, and that they were being kept in secret facilities for further study. Despite numerous theories and allegations surrounding the incident, the United States government has maintained that the wreckage collected at the Roswell crash site was from a weather balloon and that no proof of extraterrestrial life was involved.
Of this great mass of reports, we have been able adequately to explain the great bulk of them, explain them to our own satisfaction. We've been able to explain them as hoaxes, as erroneously identified friendly aircraft, as meteorological or electronic phenomena, or as light aberrations.
On July 19, 1952, an air traffic controller at the Washington National Airport saw 7 unidentified flying objects southwest of the Capitol soon before midnight. Edward Nugent, the controller, requested his co-workers to confirm what he was seeing. They verified that the radar was in good working order and that what they could observe was not consistent with a regular flight path. Soon after, the controllers noticed additional brilliant objects circling the Capitol building and the White House. In the early morning hours of July 20, 1952, fighter jets were scrambled from the Newcastle Air Force Base in Delaware. However, the UFOs vanished from the radar and from view when the fighter jets arrived over the city. The radar once more picked up UFOs when the jets were forced to land in Delaware due to fuel shortages, which led the air traffic controllers to suspect the enigmatic objects could intercept and understand radio traffic. The objects were no longer discernible on radar or with the naked eye by dawn. The strange phenomena recurred the next weekend. On the evening of July 26, a pilot and a flight attendant aboard a plane headed for the airport spotted unusual lights above their aircraft. Once more, air traffic controllers saw a large number of unidentified objects across the radar as fighter jets sped from Delaware to Washington. One of the fighter pilots noticed the strange lights that night and made an attempt to pursue them, but his aircraft was unable to keep up with the speed of the UFOs, so he abandoned his pursuit. The Air Force conducted a news conference at the Pentagon on July 29, just 3 days after the second incident, to inform the public about the phenomena. News coverage of the Washington, D.C. UFO sightings had gotten out of hand, and there were worries that if there wasn't an official explanation, the public would go into a frenzy. Air Force Major General John Samford explained to the assembled reporters that the radar anomalies could be explained by a temperature inversion over the city, making it just a weather-related incident, while the air traffic controllers and fighter pilots must have seen stars, meteors, and other optical illusions.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States.
In late afternoon on Friday, April 24, 1964, police officer Lonnie Zamora was pursuing a speeding car near the town of Socorro, New Mexico, when he was startled by a huge roar. A few seconds later, he noticed a large fireball bursting into the sky above a distant area of desert southwest of the highway. Zamora let the speeding car go, made a right turn, and drove down a bumpy gravel road to investigate. Zamora moved closer to the spot, where he thought the UFO had touched down. Later, he claimed that he had first observed the object from a distance of roughly 150 yards, when he initially thought it was a car or other vehicle in need of assistance. The sheriff's office was then informed over radio by Zamora of a potential accident that he would be looking into. Zamora then got in touch with Sergeant Samuel Chavez of the New Mexico State Police, who he knew would help with the investigation. He asked Sergeant Chavez for assistance and began approaching the object. He observed landing gear and a red symbol at a distance of around 50 feet from the object, which he later drew for authorities. Once more, a very loud rumble that wasn't quite a blast, but yet not steady like a jet engine shocked him. The pitch gradually increased, starting at a low frequency. The flame, which was orange at the bottom and pale blue on top, looked to be coming from the object's underside. Zamora froze in fear that the object might explode. The object accelerated away from him in a southwesterly direction, appearing to travel in a straight line at a height of around 10 to 15 feet, until it crossed the high desert mountains and vanished. The Zamora case was overseen by Hector Quintanilla, the final chief officer of the U.S. Air Force's legendary UFO investigation program, Project Blue Book. His crew was confident that Zamora was telling the truth, but despite a thorough investigation, they were unable to find the object or its origins. The Rendlesham Forest Incident refers to a series of unexplained light sightings, and the alleged landing of a craft or multiple craft of unknown origin in Rendlesham Forest, Suffolk, England, in late December 1980, just outside Royal Air Force Woodbridge, which was used at the time by the United States Air Force. In the early hours of Boxing Day morning, dozens of U.S. Air Force soldiers claimed to see strange lights descend into the nearby forest. The soldiers went to investigate, initially supposing the source of the light to be a wrecked aircraft. The servicemen could hear animals from a nearby farm in a frenzy as they entered the forest. As they reached the area, they noticed a glowing object with colored lights, which immediately flew away in the direction of the surrounding coast. When the servicemen returned to the same location at morning, they discovered a small clearing with 3 impressions on the ground, forming a triangle shape. There were also reports of burned scars and damaged branches on the surrounding trees. The following evening, when witnesses reported odd lights, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, the deputy base commander, led a bigger force into Rendlesham. Halt discovered abnormally high levels of radioactivity at the first landing site. Another smaller group, on a second excursion into the woodland, noticed a dancing red light inside an eerie pulsing fog. They notified Halt's crew, who observed the light approaching them, spewing a rainbow waterfall of colors. Meanwhile, the second group was watching a bright domed object through which they could see the shadows of moving figures. Researchers obtained a copy of what became known as the Halt tape in 1984. However, because the tape was dubbed on an old machine, most of the background conversation was lost.
Number 1, have them cut it off and include some of that sap and all, is between indentation 2 and 3 on a pine tree about 5 feet away, about 3.5 feet off the ground. There's a round abrasion on the tree about 3.5 4 inches in diameter. It looks like it might be old, but strange as a crystalline pine sap has come out that fast.
According to some academics, Porton-Down agents visited Rendlesham following the incident in 1980. There has been no evidence produced, and there appears to be some misunderstanding with other alleged UFO occurrences. Nick Pope, who worked for the Ministry of Defense researching and examining UFO phenomenon between 1991 and 1994, is one of the most famous believers in the extraterrestrial origin of the Rendlesham UFOs. He wrote on the Rendlesham Forest Incident in multiple books and articles. He has gone on record as declaring that the Rendlesham Forest Incident is greater than Roswell. In conclusion, UFO sightings have been reported for centuries, and continue to be reported to this day. While many sightings have been explained as natural phenomena or man-made objects, there are still numerous reports that remain unexplained, and have fueled speculation and debate about the possibility of extraterrestrial life.